To the Midgard Press. My name is Jay, and we are covering Dragonbane's magic. Um, we're going through the rule book page by page, section by section, and we are finally upon magic. Now, magic is multiple pages, and we are definitely going to be breaking it down. Um, yeah, I mean, there's a lot. There is a lot to go over. So as they say, let's get started. Before we get into the actual magic, though, look at this artwork. I mean, we have a cultist summoning a demon of some type. Like this art style is just incredible. Excuse me. I mean, you don't have to be artistic to appreciate good art. But yeah, this art's just fantastic. So, magic. Some call magic a gift from the dragons, others a curse from the demons, and still others call it blessing of the gods or spirits. And it is true that dragons, demons, gods, and spirits influence magic and can guide the mage who wields it. But the reality is that magic is a basic force of nature that exists throughout the physical world as well as beyond it. Gods and demons, dragons and spirits, they are all equally independent on magic. So as far as the schools of magic, there's four. There's animism, elementalism, mentalism, and then there's the general magic. So exploring magic is part as much as I tell you what, today I cannot do words. Exploring magic is as much as part as try this again. Exploring magic is as much art as it is science. There we go. All right. There are different schools of magic, each with a unique view of what magic is and how it works. There are said to be more magic schools in the world of Dragonbane, even though we don't have them just yet. Even necromancy and other dark arts, but the three below are the only ones available to player characters in the core game. So that right there tells you that they are working on creating more schools of art or schools of magic for us, the Dragonbane players or GMs. Skills. Each school of magic is a separate secondary skill. As a newly created mage, you can select one school as a trained skill based on intelligence. You don't get a base chance in magic schools that you are not trained in, even as a mage. You can learn additional schools of magic during the game. And don't worry, I promise you, we will get into how you can learn multiple schools of magic in a further breakdown. Let's see here. Animism. The world is alive. It is full of spirits and gods, and all things have a soul. Like nature itself, spirits and gods are neither good nor evil. They may not be omnipotent, but they possess great power and should be treated with respect. If you speak to them in the right way, they may lend power to your animist magic. Elementalism. According to the elementalists, all things in the universe consist of four elements: wind, water, earth, and fire in different combinations. The mind and spirit are associated with wind. Adaptability and creativity are linked to water. Action and energy are linked to fire, and steadfastness and determination are properties of elemental earth. Mentalism. Mentalists believe that your mind and body are the center of the universe. By focusing and training your mind, you gain control of your body and the magic that flows through it and the world. General magic. General magic is not a school, but a collection of general spells. You can learn general spells no matter which school of magic you subscribe to. Spells. There we go. So the formula mages use to influence and alter the world are called spells. Many spells are described later in this chapter. You either know a spell or you do not. You do not have skill levels in individual spells, only in schools. You hold your spell levels or your spells in a memory or in your grimoire. Rank. Spells are divided into ranks, which indicate how complex and powerful they are. As a mage, you start the game with only rank 1 spells, but you learn higher rank spells during the game. Prepared spells. Spells are complicated, and the maximum number of spells you hold prepared in your memory at the same time is equal to your base chance for intelligence. So go back, you can see the base chance, and that's how many you hold as a base chance. When you have reached your limit and want to prepare for another spell, you need to replace a spell. To prepare spells, you need to study them in a grimoire. This takes a shift of time, regardless of the number of spells. It can be done during a shift rest. You can only prepare spells that you have learned. Mark your prepared spells with an X on your character sheet. Grimoire. Most mages have a grimoire, and newly created mages automatically get one. It just like teleports to you. In the grimoire, you record all the spells you know. Recording one spell takes a shift of time. You record unreadied spells, or you can record unreadied spells. Once you have learned more spells than can be held, your grimoire becomes critical. In an emergency, you can cast spells directly from the grimoire, but it takes twice as long as normal. See below. Grimoires from other mages are also an effective way to learn new spells. Should you not have a teacher, read more about learning magic on page 61. Lost grimoire. If you lose your grimoire, you cannot prepare the spells you kept in it. To be able to use the unprepared spells again, you first need to get a new grimoire and record these spells in it. Magic tricks. So-called magic tricks are minor, relatively harmless spells. They are often the first thing a mage learns, as these simple spells train their minds to handle magical power. Each school has its own magic tricks. The limit on prepared spells above does not apply to magic tricks. Your magic tricks are always prepared. So, and it just goes to say that newly created mage. As a newly created mage, you may select 3 rank 1 spells and 3 magic trick to start the game with. They must be chosen from your school of magic or the general magic. You also get a grimoire where all your spells are recorded. So, casting spells. To cast a spell, you must spend willpower points and roll against your skill level in the relevant skill. Any school can be used to cast general spells. If the roll succeeds, the spell has the intended effect, as per its description. Otherwise, it has no effect. You can push the roll if the optional rule is used. Some magic tricks succeed automatically and always cost 1 willpower. 0 willpower. Some spells can drain willpower from another person. Hitting 0 willpower has no effect other than prohibiting the use of abilities that require willpower. Power level. The power level of a spell indicates how much power you can charge it with. The power level ranges from 1 to 3. Casting a spell costs 2 willpower per level. In other words, normal spells always cost 2 willpower, and magic tricks always cost 1 willpower. Some spells do not use power level. Some spells do not use power level. These always cost 2 willpower. Power from the body. So this is talking if you have 0 willpower. If you have 0 willpower left, but you can draw power from your body if you need to. But this is harmful, potentially even lethal. Roll a die of your choice, d4, d6, d8, d10, d12, d20, before casting the spell. The result indicates how many willpower you gain and must use straight away. But you also take the same amount of damage. Willpower not used immediately are lost. The damage is applied after the spell is cast. Power from the body cannot be used for healing spells. So you can't cause yourself damage and then try to heal yourself. It doesn't work like that. Magic and metal, and this is how it is in most TTRPGs. Most of the time, mages cannot wear armor. You can wear leather, but you can't wear armor. So metal has an anti-magic effect, which means that you cannot use magic if you are wearing metal armor or have a metal weapon at hand. This includes partially metal items such as axes, spears, studded leather, and arrows, but not staves, clubs, or slings. Items in your inventory do not count. Requirements. To cast a spell, you must fulfill one or more requirements, which are specified in the description of each spell. Word, gesture, focus, or ingredient. Word. The spell is activated with a chant or power word. Gesture. The spell is activated by making specific hand movements. Focus. The spell is activated with an item held in your hand, such as a wand, crystal ball, or amulet. Ingredient. The spell is activated using a certain ingredient, which is consumed in the process. Some spells have multiple requirements. You cannot cast a spell unless all of its requirements are fulfilled. Casting time. Unless otherwise stated, casting a spell counts as an action in combat. However, there are reaction spells that can be performed outside of your own. Unlike other reactions in combat, such as parrying and dodging, reaction spells do not replace your regular action in the round. This means you can cast as many of them as you want if you have enough willpower. There are also rituals, which take a stretch of time or even a shift to perform. Grimoire. Casting an unprepared spell from your grimoire takes twice as long, which means you must take an extra round, extra round, stretch, or shift on preparations. Make the roll when the spell is completed. Reaction spells cannot be cast from your grimoire. Range. Each spell has a maximum range, unlike ranged weapons. Spells cannot be used on targets outside their specified range. Personal range means that the spell only affects the person casting it. Area of effect. Some spells affect an entire area. That area is called the area of effect, AoE. Unless stated otherwise, the area of effect always starts at the mage casting the spell. So it starts at you and goes outwards. Area of effect spells can be dodged but not parried unless stated otherwise. You can exempt one or more targets within the area from the spell's effect, but you then get a bane on the roll. So it's saying like if you want to negate somebody that's in there, sure, go ahead, but you get a bane on the roll. Sphere. In the range, if the range is described as a sphere, the spell affects all targets within the chosen area except the mage himself. Cone. If the range is described as cone, the spell affects all targets within a cone-shaped area whose width at any given point equals the distance from the source of the spell. The range indicates the length of the cone. Duration. Each spell specifies the duration of its effects. You got instant, round, stretch, shift, concentration. The effect occurs instantly and has no lasting effect. Round. The effect lasts until your turn in the next round. Stretch. The effect lasts for one stretch of time. Shift. The effect lasts until the end of your current shift. Concentration. The effect ceases if you perform another action, take damage, or fail a willpower roll for resisting fear. If you are interrupted by a sudden disturbance, such as a sound, you must make a willpower roll, not an action, to maintain your concentration. Failure, dragons, and demons. If you roll for casting a spell fails, the spell has no effect, but you still spend your willpower. You are free to describe how the failure manifests itself in the story as long as it has no mechanical effect. Rolling a dragon when you cast a spell means that your target must roll a dragon to resist, parry, or dodge the spell, and you may choose one of the following effects. The damage or range of the spell is doubled. The spell does not cost any willpower. You can immediately cast another spell, but get a bane on the roll. Rolling a demon. If you roll a demon, you cannot push the roll. And that's how it is for anything. If you roll a demon, you can't push the roll. There is also a rank or a risk of something going terribly wrong. See the optional roll for magical mishaps below. A magical mishap occurs if you roll a demon, a 20, when casting a spell. Roll on the table on page 60. We'll cover that in a second. Magic items. So magic items contain one or more spells that can be activated even by non-mages. Unless stated otherwise, it takes a successful roll against languages or any school of magic to identify the spells and may be able to use them. Willpower points. Using the spell inside a magic item costs willpower. Some magic items can store willpower, which you can use instead of your own. More on page 62. So, we have the magical mishaps. I'm not going to read all of them. Go ahead and pause and you can read for yourself, but I'll just leave you a couple. Number 1, the magical powers leave you dazed. 3, the energies take a toll on your body and you become sickly. Number 10, another random spell of yours is activated instead of the one you cast with the same target and power level. Number 11, you vomit a frog at the moment you tell a lie. Roll D4 every morning. On a 1, the effect wears off. It can also be lifted with Dispel. And 20. This is a good one. 20. Your magic attracts a demon from another dimension. The demon shows up within your next shift and attacks or causes some kind of trouble. The details are up to the GM. Fantastic. Ooh. All right, so we're just going to cover learning magic. Learning magic. You can learn new spells from a teacher or a grimoire. You must have a skill level in the relevant school of magic or any school of magic for general spells. Prereqs. Some spells have a prerequisite that must be met in order to learn them. It is usually a school of magic or knowing another spell. Teachers. The easiest, but often most expensive, way to learn a new spell is from a teacher who already knows it. The lesson takes 1 shift, but you cannot activate the new spell until the end of the game session. You must then use an advancement mark for the school to learn the new spell instead of trying to increase your skill level in the school. Make a roll against intelligence with a boon. On success, you learn the spell, otherwise you do not. Grimoires. If you are lucky, you can find spells in other mages' grimoires. You can learn them on your own. This works the same way with a teacher, but you roll against languages instead of intelligence without the boon. So it's good to have a teacher because they give you an extra dice to potentially learn it. Otherwise, you're just rolling normal. Magic tricks. Magic tricks are easier to learn than real spells. It takes 1 stretch to learn a new trick from a teacher or a grimoire. No advancement mark or roll is required. Schools of magic. You can learn additional schools of magic by first acquiring the heroic ability magic talent, and then studying under a teacher with a skill level in the school for at least a week. At the end of the week, you must roll against intelligence. On a success, you get your base chance at the skill level in your school. On a failure, you may try again for another week of study. Even non-mages can learn magic this way. So this right here is telling you that you can potentially, okay, you can potentially take 2 different kins. So you can basically not kins, you can multi-profession. So if you want to take magic for whatever reason, you can, but you have to go through a whole process, which is really good for campaigns because it allows you to really role play the whole scenario out. But the next thing we'll get into next episode, we're going to get into the actual magic. We're going to get into general magic, and then we'll get into animism, and then we'll get into elementalism, and then we'll get into mentalism, and then we're done. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions about what we just covered, please drop it in the comments. Let's go. Drop it in the comments. We'll answer it. We'll talk about it. We'll go in length about it. But yeah, thank you all for listening in. Magic is a very interesting aspect, the way that they do it in this game, and I'm really excited for it. So let me know what you're most excited about with magic. What seems the most interesting aspect of it? Drop it in the comments. So do the thing, like this video, drop something in the comments, share this video, share it with your friends, share it with your nerds, share it with your family, share it with everybody. In fact, just put it on your Facebook page. We'll see. But as always, my friends, I want you all to live on and game on.